Hello, my friends. I feel like it's been a hot minute since I've been on here, but today I'm sharing with you some tasty holiday treats. This includes some savory and some sweet. For the first one, I am going to be making a Christmas tree, and you will need a Pillsbury pizza dough. You will need some cheese. The recipe calls for cheese strings. I had mozzarella, so I just cubed up mozzarella. You will need some Parmesan cheese. You will need one large egg, 3 tablespoons of butter, half a cup of Parmesan cheese, 1 tablespoon of fresh parsley, half a tablespoon of fresh rosemary, and half a tablespoon of fresh basil. I, however, just used dry seasonings because spices because I did not have any of these fresh. And then you will also need a clove of garlic and then a jar of marinara or pesto for dipping. That is completely optional. So the first thing that I did was I preheated my oven to 400, and I will have the recipe link down below so that way you don't have to and I will also list it in the description box, but I will have a link to a full recipe. So you will roll out your dough, which is super easy if you're using the Pillsbury pizza dough. You can also make your own pizza dough if that's what you would like, or just use maybe just a frozen kind from the freezer at the grocery store. So once you roll it out, you want to cut it into approximately 30 equal squares. And then you will want to also cut your mozzarella or your cheese sticks into 30 bite-sized pieces. I was using a pizza cutter to cut my dough. This seemed to have worked perfect. I did end up having maybe a couple extra squares there, but it was not a problem at all. So once you have all your stuff cut up, you are going to add a piece of mozzarella to each square of dough, and then you will form a ball, rolling with your hands to smooth and seal the edges. So I prepared my baking sheet as well by adding just a parchment paper to my stone. And you want to place the balls on the prepared baking sheet, seam side down, in the shape of a tree. So you want to shape a Christmas tree. You could probably also do a candy cane if you wanted, or just put it in any shape that you want. Because I was serving this for our Christmas holiday gathering, I did put it in the shape of a tree. So just before it went into the oven, I blended the egg and water in a small bowl and lightly brushed each ball with the egg wash. I'm going to bake it in a preheated oven on my stone for 18 minutes or until golden brown. And while bread is baking, I microwave my butter until melted and stirred in half the Parmesan and all of the grated garlic and herbs. And I brushed onto the rolls, then sprinkled it with remaining Parmesan over the top right when it came out of the oven. And then you can serve it immediately with the marinara or on its own. For my next recipe, I had baked a chicken breast seasoned with some garlic salt, and pepper. I just want to say that you can use a canned chicken if that's what you want, or maybe a rotisserie chicken from Costco or your local grocery store that was already cooked, and just shred the chicken. Then I'm going to use some buffalo sauce. This is Frank's buffalo sauce, as well as some blue cheese dressing and some crumbled blue cheese. I am making a chicken buffalo dip, and you will also need some salt and pepper and a block of cream cheese. So I'm going to cut my chicken breast very thinly. You can shred it as well with just forks. Because this was a chicken breast and the way it was cooked, it wasn't very shreddable, but I just chopped it up as small as I possibly could. I added it to a separate bowl once it was done, and then I also ended up adding the other ingredients, which was the softened cream cheese. I just broke it up and added it. and then I'm going to follow with the other ingredients. I'm going to mix everything together well, and then I'm going to add the blue cheese and mix it a little bit more. And then I have this stone that's really pretty with a lid, and it is coated. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, spread it with my little spreader around. You could also spray it with a non-stick spray. This just makes sure it doesn't stick, and then I'm going to put it in the oven at about 350, 375 for about 20 minutes to half an hour, depending on your oven, or you just want to make sure that it's bubbling before you take it out. And I will be putting the lid on it. The next appetizer that I'm going to be making is very simple. I had picked up this brie at Costco. This is definitely my favorite brie. It is so creamy. And then I just unwrapped it, and I have this brie baker that I actually got at Indigo. They were having a clearance sale. They still carry these, but I got it for a ridiculous price. I think I paid like under $10 for it, and this was many, many years ago. And then I'm going to take a knife and just make little cuts. And I'm going to cut it into squares, and I am just cutting through the top skin layer of the cheese. I'm not actually cutting it all the way through. I'm going to cover it and put it in a preheated oven and cook it for about 15 minutes or so, checking, making sure it's not over melted. And then also another thing that I'm going to make to go along with it, I'm going to roast some heads of garlic. So all I do is I just cut the side of the garlic that has the leaves shooting out, not the one that if it was in a ground that it was facing the ground, it's the one that faces the sky. If that makes sense, because I don't know what the parts of the garlic are called. And I'm going to place it into this little cast iron dish that I actually picked up from Dollarama. It is perfect for roasting this garlic, or for even making like individual baked potatoes or individual dips or mac and cheese or anything like that. I think they are so cute. And I just coated it with olive oil because it was the first time baking in it. So I'm going to place my garlic in there, and I'm going to drizzle olive oil all over it and cover it up with aluminum foil. And I'm going to put it in the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. So you just have to make sure that your timings are right. So I would put my garlic in first, and then about halfway through, I would put everything else in it, like your bread, the pizza, the little balls, and then also the cheese. That way everything will come out at once and it will be nice and warm. And I'm going to serve this with some baguette and some red pepper jelly and fig jam. And the last thing that I'm going to be making is sweet, and I'm sure you've seen this going around Pinterest and Instagram. It is the hot cocoa dip. So for hot cocoa dip, you will need some hot cocoa powder, and then you will also need some marshmallow cream, as well as some whipped cream. And that is the basis for your dip. And I'm going to be mixing it all in. I will have the recipe linked down in the description box so that way you can see it for yourself. But it's pretty much the equal amounts of everything. I think I did I did quarter cup of hot cocoa, quarter cup of marshmallow fluff, and quarter cup of the whipped topping or whipped cream. Now you could set this up on the charcuterie board or on a tray. In my case, I was setting it up on top of a pizza pan because I needed it to be a little bit bigger. I also picked up these gingerbread men for dipping. I thought they were perfect. You could also use your baked goods as well. Most of my gingerbread men were massive, so I didn't think that that would be good for dipping here, but I did add some of my stars and that I made the gingerbread stars. I also used some pretzels. These are the pretzel snacks that you get at Costco, and this salty combined with that dip was absolutely delicious. And then I also added some marshmallows and then a couple of my bakings that I did. If you had missed the 12 days of Christmas baking cookies, make sure you head on over. I will link the playlist up in the corner, but I will also link it in the description box so you can check it out. I think this turned out so cute, and I think it would look even better if you sprinkled some candy canes or mixed some candy canes in it. So here is what my whole setup of the savory stuff looked like. I thought I'd take you around and show you. I just love creating these festive charcuterie type of settings where there's a lot of different types of food. So here is the dip, the buffalo dip. The garlic is still wrapped up, and then a couple different cheeses. My Brisane needs to go there, and then here is my brie, as well as I actually did add some sun-dried tomatoes to go with it. We ordered a giant pretzel to go with it, and here is my little Christmas tree. I think this all turned out really good. It tasted absolutely delicious. So make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed these recipes. Let me know if you're planning on trying any, and I will see you all in my next video, which is coming up on Sunday, and it's all about Christmas morning breakfast. So make sure your notification bell is on so you don't miss it. So until next time, hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching.